This episode is brought to you by AARP. 10 years from today, Lisa Schneider will trade in her office job to become the leader of a pack of dogs. As the owner of her own dog rescue, that is. A second act made possible by the reskilling courses Lisa's taking now with AARP to help make sure her income lives as long as she does. And she can finally run with the big dogs. And the small dogs, who just think they're big dogs. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Learn more at aarp.org/skills.
Welcome to California in Focus. I'm David Mastio. Today we're talking about San Francisco's budget. Joining me today is the Center Square's managing editor for Enterprise, Tom Gantert, as a special guest. Tom, what's going on with the budget in San Francisco?
Okay, so we did a recent story that looked at what the city's top budget analysts came up with projections over the next 4 years. And basically what they came up with is that they project over the next 4 years to have about a $3 billion deficit running cumulative from 2024-25 to 2027-28. So the deficit starts out at about $554 million in 2024-25, then increases to $927 million in 26-27, and then up to $1.3 billion in 27-28. What was kind of interesting about this was that despite having these financial issues and the projected deficits, the city has about 30,000 employees that work for more than 30 unions. And the city stated that in its recent contract negotiations that they were able to provide all of those union employees at least a 13% increase over a 3-year period. Now, that amounted to over $100 million in additional costs. And they also stated that they guaranteed that every city employee will make no less than $25 an hour. So that's what the story looked at in terms of, some of the financial issues that the city is facing.
Is the city able to paper over the budget deficit this year with financial gimmicks, or are they making real cuts?
Well, the things that they're doing to cover this are two things. They're using money from, reserve funds, what is often called rainy day funds. And then what they're also doing is they're raising taxes on businesses. So we'll give you an instance. Right now, the city is looking at increasing business taxes. So we'll give you an example. They want to raise some of the entertainment fees on business. That would be like billiard parlors, dance hall, keeper, extended hours premises, those kind of things, up to 68%. And they're also going to do the same things with building permit fees. So we're looking at them and it's right on their agenda as they show you what the increases are going to be. But for a permit issue, for a building permit, a permit issue fee is going to go up 80%. And then there's some aspects of the plan review fee that's going to go up 91%. So that's one of the ways that they're looking to, cover this budget deficits they're facing is by passing on the cost to businesses.
Some people thought San Francisco was turning itself around when the recent census data came out and the city had bottomed out and actually gained a few thousand residents to distribute these tax increases across, I guess. Is the city the only government entity there that's facing a big deficit, or are other parts of the government facing a deficit?
Well, we've reported that the San Francisco School District has faced the same issue. So the San Francisco School District is facing a deficit of $195 million this year, 2024-25, and $420.5 million in 25-26. And how did they respond to it? In December, they announced that they gave historic raises to its unionized employees. So the same situation and the same response in terms of how they responded, the school district and the city in San Francisco. It should be noted, the city is getting more revenue. So like in 2018, it brought in $4.99 billion in general fund revenues. And if you adjust that for inflation, that's about 1.6% above inflation in revenues. So what's driving this? Their two biggest expenses are two things. One is public protection, which is the combination of police and fire. So the city spent $1.31 billion in 2018 on public protection. That went up to $1.65 billion in 2023. Now, the other aspect for the city that's seen a huge increase in expenses is what they call human welfare and neighborhood development. And what that is the homelessness response they're doing and also their low-income assist programs. In 2019, the city spent $999 million on human welfare and neighborhood development. In 2023, it was $1.58 billion. And when you adjust for inflation, that's 31% increase above inflation in the costs and how they respond to homelessness and low-income assistance programs. So a lot of what's going on in that city is being pushed by police and fire and also, their response to affordable housing and homelessness. It's kind of interesting. The city has a homelessness gross receipts tax, which businesses pay an administrative office tax, and they pay an additional 1.5% on their payroll tax that goes to the homelessness issue, which also leads to affordable housing issues. But their response is to raise the cost of living in the city to pay for the cost of affordable housing there. So we'll see if that works.
Well, at least the number of homeless people in the city are going down, as we reported a couple months ago. So maybe the taxpayers are getting something for this incredible, you said $900 million on their homelessness and neighborhood development programs?
Yeah, $999 million in 2019, and it went up to $1.58 billion in 2023. That's starting to get as expensive as police. Right? In 2023, public protection, police and fire was $1.65 billion. Human welfare and neighborhood development was $1.58 billion in 2023. So homelessness and low-income assistance is becoming a major expense in that city.
Tom, thanks for joining us today. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.